Hi everyone, this is daveac and this is my vblog 165 for Friday the 16th of September 2011, and this vblog that mainly goes out on the blip.tv site, but you will find it in other places as well. In under 15 minutes we'll cover one or two items of interest, I hope, to you, and then I will get to my wine at the end. Yes, it's simply chat, music, tech and wine. No DVD this week and no book, although I hope to do a book next week. Well, let's start off with the Simply Chat, and the Simply Chat, as you will know by now, mainly concerns podcasts. This Sunday that's just gone by was an extremely busy Sunday because at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Torch ID 54821, of course, the Cult and Collective gathered to talk about The Girl Who Waited, the most recent of the Doctor Who episodes in Series 6. And a really full room we had, and with Ian the Sixth Doctor, we had a really good chat. And just as it was coming to an end, I had to duck out because I was helping Mr. Lewis Trapani of Doctor Who Podshop fame, that's podshop.net, do their show on TalkShoe, and that show ID is 23358, and also talking about The Girl Who Waited, and that was done, and just today the edited version of that has now gone up on the feeds. And of course, all these podcasts I talk about can be found on iTunes. And then after a short break at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, reconvened on TalkShoe yet again for the Hitchhiker's Guide to British Sci-Fi, which the ID for that is 110825, and that was talking with the UK airing of part 9 of Torchwood. And I should just say that that's not yet gone up on the feeds because Lewis does edit that. He edited the Podshop one and has got that up today. Hopefully the Hitchhiker's Guide to British Sci-Fi will go up. And I should just say, by the way, that the Podshop episode that's gone up with that The Girl Who Waited on is episode 255. But that wasn't the end of my day. No, we convened again, the Cult and Collective, well, Mike, Ian and myself, to do a commentary on The Girl Who Waited, and that went up on the feeds on Wednesday of this week. So a very busy Sunday indeed. But now, of course, you may have heard that I've started another podcast that I do on Tuesdays, and that is the Big and Fruity Wine Podcast. And I've got 3 of those out now. Remember, I've got the blog at, and this is a WordPress blog at bigandfruity, or one word, .wordpress.com. We've also got a Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, just put Big and Fruity in, and please ask to join that group. And what we did for the Tuesday episode number 3, I had the first of what I hope to be a regular, but not every week, interview on the show, and I asked Ian if he wouldn't mind being my guinea pig and do the first interview with me, and he did that. We recorded that before the show itself, and I played it back during the show, and I'm just going to play you a little part of that interview just to give you an idea of how it went. So just have a minute or so of that. Here we go. The main topics we're talking about is wine enclosures, the different merits in your particular feeling of screw caps, artificial cork, these Stelvin uses, are indeed cork itself. So first of all, I mean, does it have any bearing on the wines that you buy? Do you feel as though it makes any particular difference at the sort of price point you're buying? And do you have any points to bring up about it, really?
Well, the entrance, I always be the story behind everything. The funny thing is when I first started seeing screw caps, I saw it very wrongly, as I now know, that screw caps meant it was cheap. Because it was a screw cap, it was a cheap bottle of wine, then don't expect much. But then I was speaking to my dad about that. I said, oh yeah, you see all these cheap bottles of wine over here. He said, what do you mean? I'm like, oh yeah, the ones with the screw caps. Well, actually, and so he imparted to me his knowledge about the fact that they found that especially I think it was
And I'm going to
food
bring
that
the volume
improves
down on that and
like
stop that.
correlated breathing.
Okay, so you can hear all that interview. Runs about 20-21 minutes with Ian on episode 3 of the Big and Fruity podcast, also now on iTunes. Okay, now it's not really been much of a summer here in the UK. It's been pretty wet and miserable, but we knew the summer was coming to an end, not because the glorious sunshine came to an end. In fact, we've had some quite nice days in September, but because we had here in the UK the last night of the proms that sort of officially marks the end of the summer season and starts of school terms and what have you. Well, last Saturday, really enjoyed last night at the proms. So I've hunted out one of my CDs, and here it is. There we are. Last night of the proms, Sir Charles Groves. I'm not sure it's from one particular year, because I'm sure he did it more than once, but it's a collection. It's reflecting a bit that, sorry about that, and difficult text to read. But last night at the proms is a really great event here in the UK. Well, I think for a lot of music lovers anyway. And I'm just going to play a little bit of track 6, which is part of the Fantasia on British Sea Songs. And this is, well, let's hear a bit of it. And hopefully it's not going to distort, because I've had it on pause for some time. So let's have a listen. Play. Always want to conduct these. Brilliant. You have to stop it there, just tune it down a bit. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. I love the sea shanty bit. It doesn't really almost matter which year you get. I mean, obviously they vary each year. This year they had Lang Lang playing in the first half, but it was really good. But it made me want to fish out my Last Night at the Proms DVD. I think I've got another one from a more recent one as well, but I couldn't just find that to hand. So if you like classical music, I'm sure you'll love hunting out a Last Night at the Proms CD. Okay, well, let's do a little bit of tech before we go on to the wine at the end. Quite a few things happening because, of course, just last week was the IFA, that's IFA, but it's IFA, the biggest European computer show that's held in Berlin. And I should just say, if you're in the UK, the BBC News channel has a program called Click, and they did a smashing program on it last Saturday. If you can hunt that out and watch it, really great. But it was all about tablet PCs. It was all about trying to challenge Apple's supremacy with these new Google OS ones. I think it's called Honeycomb that they use, but it's Google OS underneath that, and they're all bringing them out. But they all seem pretty dear indeed to me. I think the most innovative one, if I can say that word, and I couldn't, is the Sony one, the clamshell one, that has 2 narrow screens. And then there's all this being about this Galaxy Tab and patented infringement and so on. And of course, the other big news was not just 3D TV, because that's been still this raging argument about whether you need to have glasses, or the fact that if you buy glasses for your TV, you go around to your friend's house, those glasses won't work with them. And I think 3 of the biggest TV manufacturers are getting together so that the next generation, not the current generation, but the next generation of 3D TVs that need glasses, the glasses will be interchangeable. And there were some there trying to promote TV without glasses. The trouble is that to get that working, you lose resolution. Of course, with the glasses, you lose brightness because they dim the picture somewhat. So we're not completely there yet with that. But there were lots of other little things on, really, really interesting. And coming late to the fray, and related to this somewhat, is the fact that Microsoft are getting ready to sort of get out their new operating system, Windows 8. And this is all being geared towards ease of use across the whole range of devices, from tablets all the way up to desktop PCs. And of course, they're making much more use of the gestures and so on. But from what I've seen and read from, I think it's John Honeywell from a couple of the PC Pro and other magazines, they're saying the only trouble is what's successful for the mobile things doesn't. It can get a bit clunky when you're trying to use it with the mouse and so on. So it's yet to be seen, whether we will take to Windows 8 as much as, I think Windows 7 has been the best Windows operating system to date. They don't want to throw that out and upset lots of users, forcing Windows 8 down them, but we will see. So there's an awful lot going there, of course, as we roll out. But the other major factor, of course, is do we have the money to buy this stuff? It's brilliant that all this stuff is coming out, but most people are feeling the pinch a little bit with here in the UK, the unemployment made a big rise and so on. Don't want to get political on my little vlog, but it's no good having this stuff if we can't afford to buy it. I know that Dixons and Currys in the UK, sales are down about 12 or 20% because people are only replacing TVs and things when they break down. They're not just thinking, oh, it's 2 years old, we'll get a new one. Okay, well, we're coming up to 12 minutes. I think I deserve a little drink. I now got a little treat today. Now, it's gone 9 o'clock in the evening, so I've already had a good slurp of this, had a glass of wine with my evening meal, but it's a real belter. I can say that because I've tasted it already. And there you are. It's I'm sorry about it. You can see it's a Grand Vin de Bordeaux, Chateau Saint-Germain, I think that's how you pronounce it, 2009, Border Superior, mostly in French on the back. But look at that. It tells you the ideal temperature, 16 to 18 degrees to drink it at, and it's 14%. I've got quite a nice little. It's not a strong. French wines always seem to be slightly restrained to me against the New World Cabernets and that. By the way, I think the grapes in this, it's a blended wine, Cabernet and Merlot. But I'm getting a lot of dark berry fruits and a sort of a cross between a spice and a muskiness. Let's have another taste. And that's nice. This has really warmed up nicely. Now, they're doing this at Asda, that's Walmart in the States, as one of their wines that you can get 2 wines for £10. I think it was the Redwood Creek Merlot I had when I bought this. So this wine is normally nearly £8. That's normally getting up towards $14 or $15. But it was selling for £5, which is $8. So this is an absolute bargain, and there's some quite nice ones. 2 wines for £10. So for £5 for a Grand Vin de Bordeaux, I think that's excellent value. And tell you what, it went down nice. I had some Spanish chicken tonight, and this went down rather nicely with it. Actually, it's quite restrained. I mean, at 14%, because often these French wines are only 12.5%, 13%, but it doesn't actually have a lot of alcoholic heat in it. It's very restrained, very elegant, and at £5, an absolute bargain if you're here in the UK. And with that, I'm going to finish now because I've been finding that the file sizes with this new camera. Oh, and by the way, they've updated the software yet again. That's about the third software upgrade in the last month. So hopefully the picture and the colouring is all right, and hopefully the volume is sorted now as well. Thank you for the feedback I got from people on things like that. So you know, thank you to Joyce, if you're watching. Congratulations on being a granny again. And if my brother Ron's watching, congratulations, he's just turned 70. Yeah, but he's lively, still working, and he's off this week as a training manager for a marathon runner who may well be in the Olympics. So good on you, Ron. With that personal note, don't forget to check out that new podcast, the Big and Fruity Wine Podcast. Bye all, catch you next week, and thanks for watching. Bye.